8 years ago, my life fell apart. My husband, Robert, dropped a bombshell out of nowhere. He had fallen in love with someone else, a woman he met online. Her name was Isabella, and according to him, she was the hottest woman he had ever seen. Those words crushed me. Robert said they had been talking for 3 months, and he realized he was unhappy in our marriage. I had no idea this was coming. Sure, he had been acting distant, but I chalked it up to work stress. When he finally admitted what was going on, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He said he loved us but couldn't ignore his feelings for Isabella. He needed to leave, meet her in person, and see where things would go. I was furious and heartbroken. I asked him if he was seriously leaving me and our 2 kids for some woman he had never even met. He nodded. He told me he would support us financially, but had to follow his heart. It felt like my entire world was crumbling. I wanted to scream, to beg him to stay, but I could see in his eyes that his mind was made up. A week later, he packed his things and left. I had to explain to our kids, Emily, who was 9, and Nathan, who was just 4, that their dad wasn't coming back. Emily asked a million questions I couldn't answer, while Nathan clung to me, sensing something was wrong even if he didn't fully understand. I was devastated, but I had no choice but to keep going for my kids. Robert's departure left me shattered, but our friends and family rallied around us. My parents urged me to take legal action, but I didn't have the energy or the resources. Robert's parents were just as shocked as I was. They begged him to come back, but he refused. Over time, his presence in our lives faded to nothing. He sent money occasionally, but he never reached out to me or the kids. As the years passed, I became a single mother, working tirelessly to provide for Emily and Nathan. It was hard, but I managed to build a stable life for us. Emily stopped trying to contact her father after a while, and Nathan barely remembered him. Despite everything, they grew into remarkable kids. Recently, Robert's father passed away, and we attended the funeral. The family lawyer informed me that Robert's father had left some money for the kids in his will. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was enough to cover their college expenses. I shared the news with Emily and Nathan, and they were thrilled. For the first time in years, I felt like things were finally falling into place. Then, out of the blue, Robert called me. Hearing his voice after 8 years was surreal. He said he needed to meet me urgently to discuss an offer. I didn't understand why he was reaching out now, but his repeated pleas were hard to ignore. I agreed to meet him, deciding not to tell the kids until I knew what was going on. We met at a cafe near my office. When Robert walked in, I barely recognized him. He looked older, worn down, and not like the man I had married. The conversation was awkward at first, full of polite small talk. Then he got to the point. He admitted that things with Isabella hadn't worked out. She turned out to be a single mom with a gambling addiction, and their relationship had been a mess from the start. He stayed with her for years out of guilt, but he realized after his father's death that life was too short to stay unhappy. He said he missed his family and wanted to come back. Robert told me his father had left him a lake house, the same one where we used to go on family vacations. He wanted to sell it and use the money to give us a better life. He promised that if I took him back, I'd never have to work again, and our family could live in luxury. I stared at him, stunned. After abandoning us for 8 years, he thought he could just waltz back into our lives with money as his bargaining chip? I told Robert that I couldn't forget the years he left us behind. I explained how I had been raising the kids alone, working nonstop to provide for them. While financial security sounded tempting, I couldn't risk putting myself or my children through that kind of pain again. Robert pleaded with me to reconsider, insisting he had changed, but I stood firm. I told him no. When I got home, I decided it was time to tell Emily and Nathan about Robert's return. I sat them down and explained everything. Emily, now 17, was angry and confused. She remembered the pain of his absence and said she didn't want him back in her life. Nathan, who was 12 and didn't have many memories of Robert, said he was happy with how things were and didn't care about the offer. Their reactions confirmed that I had made the right decision. Later, I talked to my parents, who had been pressuring me to take Robert back. After hearing how the kids felt, they admitted they had been wrong and supported my decision to move on. A few weeks later, Robert's mother revealed the real reason behind his persistence. His father had included a clause in the will stating that Robert could only claim the lake house if he reconciled with his family. That's why he was so desperate to win me back. It wasn't about love or making amends. It was about the house. This revelation infuriated me. I realized that Robert hadn't changed at all. He was still selfish, willing to manipulate us for his own gain. I decided to take legal action and finally end this chapter of my life for good. I hired a lawyer to prepare for divorce proceedings and blocked Robert's number, so he couldn't contact me anymore. A couple of months later, I reached out to Robert under the pretense of meeting him. Emily and Nathan wanted closure, so I arranged for us all to meet at a park we used to visit as a family. When we arrived, Robert looked nervous but hopeful. Emily's expression was skeptical, and Nathan stayed close to my side. The conversation started with Emily asking him directly if leaving us was worth it. Robert admitted he had made a terrible mistake and had been blinded by his infatuation with Isabella. Nathan followed up, asking why finding happiness for himself was more important than staying with his kids. Robert looked ashamed as he explained that he wasn't thinking straight and had let his midlife crisis take over. He shared how miserable his life with Isabella had been, but my kids weren't moved by his story. When Robert tried to justify his actions, Emily shut him down. She told him it was too late for apologies and that his absence had already shaped her life. Nathan agreed, saying he didn't need Robert to come back and disrupt what we had built. Their strength amazed me, and I knew then that I had made the right choice. I told Robert that our family had moved on and didn't need him or his money. I handed him the divorce papers, making it clear that this was the end. He tried to argue, saying he genuinely wanted to make things right, but I didn't believe him. Even when he offered to split the proceeds from the lake house, Emily spoke up, saying we didn't need his charity. Nathan added that we had everything we needed to be happy. As we walked away from the park, hand in hand, I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. For the first time in years, I felt free. The kids and I were no longer tied to Robert's mistakes or manipulation. Since that day, life has continued to improve for us. I was recently promoted at work, which has brought financial stability and a sense of accomplishment. I've been able to focus on providing for Emily and Nathan, while also encouraging their passions. Emily spends hours creating beautiful art, filling our home with her talent, and Nathan excels at soccer, with me cheering him on at every game. I've also arranged for both kids to start therapy. I want them to have a safe space to process their emotions and work through any lingering feelings about their father. Finding a compassionate and experienced therapist was a priority, and I'm confident it will help them heal further. As for Robert, I've had no contact with him since serving the divorce papers. Surprisingly, Isabella tried to reach out to me, blaming me for their breakup and accusing me of manipulating Robert into leaving her. Her audacity was mind-boggling, considering she was the one who caused the initial breakup of my family. I told her to reflect on her own actions and blocked her number. I refused to let her disrupt the peace I've worked so hard to create. Robert's mother, on the other hand, has been supportive. She revealed that because I rejected Robert's reconciliation, the lake house will not go to him. It felt like poetic justice. His selfish choices had finally caught up to him. We're now focused on the future. I'm planning a trip to Disneyland with the kids, something we've been looking forward to for a long time. It's time to create new, joyful memories and continue writing our own story, one filled with love, trust, and growth. This journey has been painful, but it's also shown me the strength I didn't know I had. My children and I are thriving, and I'm proud of the life we've built together. We've left the past behind and are moving forward with hope and resilience. This is just the beginning of a brighter future for us.